unmerited favor of God. Hallelujah. But grace is more than just the unmerited favor of God. I have been going back and forth for the last couple of weeks now about grace. And God's been showing me that, Donnie, out of 42 years of being saved, you really didn't understand grace. Grace is more than just the unmerited favor, but it comes from the word, from the Greek word charis, where we get our word charisma. And the real definition of the word grace is to be empowered, to have supernatural, extraordinary empowerment from God to do what you cannot do in the natural. Oh, God, help me tonight. To do what you cannot do in the natural. So it's not just as trite as unmerited favor, but it is God looking upon your natural situation and saying, I know your feebleness. I know how absolutely helpless you are in the natural, and I've got to cloak you, mantle you. I've got to smooth you down and smother you with your abilities that can only come from me. I've got to grace you to be able to do. I've got to grace you to be able to walk. I've got to grace you to be able to believe. I've got to grace you to be able to step aside from sin. I've got to grace you so that you're released to live holy. Grace gives you the power to live this Christian lifestyle with ease. Oh, I don't hear anybody here.
Can I piggyback on that?
This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to set you guys up so you'll jump in.
See, because a whole lot of people, they've been questioning and they've been wondering. They say, Marvin, how are you able to do this? And how are you able to stand? And how are you able to function in the way that you're functioning in? And I tell them all the time that it's not me. And I think people fail to realize, you know, you're a strong man. No, I'm not strong. I'm weak. And the reason why I can say I'm weak, because I understand that when I'm weak, that's when I'm made strong. And see, what we need to learn how to do is that we got to learn how to be transparent, open and honest about our frailties and about our things that are on the inside of us. And when we become open and honest about those things, that's when God can take us and use us to the nth degree. And that's why I made a decision a long time ago. I'm not going to rest in my own strength nor ability. I'm not going to stand in who I think I am, but I'm going to stand in who he is in my life. Because if I stand in who he is in my life, the rest of my days are going to be the best of my days. Oh, I wish you would just touch somebody and tell them, say, neighbor, don't get caught up in your yesterday. Because the rest of your days are going to be the best of your days if you just stand on the premise and the promise of God.
That's the key. And you understand the premise, the promise of God, and you believe that God has given you the right and the ability to accomplish everything that he's set before you to do. Failure is not an option when you're talking about grace. I don't hear anybody. Failure is not... Failure is not an option when you're talking about grace. I found out that the enemy cannot stop me. My enemies cannot stop me. My haters cannot stop me. The only one who can stop me is me. But when I realize God has given me the power, authority, and the dominion, I can accomplish everything with great success. Somebody scream in this room. Hallelujah. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God has given us the ability to do all things. We can accomplish every single solitary thing because grace releases us. I was talking to Pastor Kim a little earlier today, and I was telling him about how God showed me in the book of Corinthians how Paul wrote a letter just telling the church of Corinth. He said, you know, I'm not as strong as y'all think I am.
That's right.
He said, I'm not as great as you think I am. It's not like I've already attained, and it's not like I'm already made whole. He said, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you something you need to know. I'm going to tell you something that most preachers aren't going to tell you. I've got a thorn in my flesh. I'm going to tell you something that may be embarrassing. I've got a thorn in my flesh, and it's not in my spirit, it's in my flesh, my carnal side, that evil side. I've got a thorn in my flesh. But I thought you were an apostle. I still got a thorn. I thought you were a preacher. I still have a thorn. Hallelujah. And it's a messenger from Satan that came to buffet me. And when I went to God and I asked him 3 times, take this away from me. I can be a better servant if you take this away from me. I won't keep tripping and falling if you take it away from me. I won't keep stumbling and making mistakes if you take it away from me. God, I'm trying to get through this. God, take it away. And then the crazy thing is, God said, no. I feel like preaching. God did not say, okay, son, I'm going to take it. Okay, it's too much for you to handle. Okay, I'm tired of you slipping and falling. God said, I'm not going to take it. What are you talking about? If you took it, I wouldn't have to keep repenting. I'm not going to take it. Why wouldn't you take it? If you took it, I wouldn't be so shamed by my actions. I'm not going to take it. Why, God? Because my grace. In other words, I've empowered you, and I've given you supernatural ability that you don't have to fall to the fleshly man, but you can walk in my empowerment and walk over the pitfalls and step over the traps. I give you the ability to look at things that you fell with before. Look at things that tripped you up before. And through grace, somebody holler grace. And through grace, you can look and say, I've been there. I've already done that. But now I've got the power to turn my back and walk in the other direction. Somebody holler grace. I wish I had an organ right now. I wish I had an organ right now. Grace gives you the ability to look at Satan.
Yes.
And look at generational curses.
Yes.
And say, it worked on my mama, but grace. It worked on my daddy, but grace. In other words, what they fell to, I will not fall to, and my children won't go through it. Somebody holler grace. I'm trying to get through this thing. I'm trying to get through. I know it's supposed to be musical, but baby, music can't save you. Only grace. Music can't keep you. Only grace. For we are saved by grace. Meaning that we're saved by the supernatural empowerment of God. That when he died, he gave us power. Behold, I give you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power. How do you have the power over Satan? Grace! Oh, God, help me tonight. And I want to know some of those. And for so long, I tried to walk this thing based on religion. Don't touch this. Don't go there. Don't say that. And you do good for a while. And then your hand stretches out and touches this. And you do this. And you go there. You took 20 steps forward. And then you took 25 steps backwards. And you got tired. But then I heard God say, you can boldly come to the throne of grace. Oh, God, help me. You can boldly come to the throne of grace. Can I go a little further? When I struggled in my sexuality, I know this is taboo, and you're not supposed to talk about it. But when I struggled in sexual ambiguity, drawn by my lust to men and women, I'm exposing myself. But let me tell the truth. It wasn't by my pulling myself back. It wasn't by my might. And it wasn't by my power. Because every time I thought I had it down, every time I thought I had it covered, and when I went to me. He said, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told to my son Paul. My grace is sufficient for you. And my strength is made perfect in the time of weakness. So now you're looking at a man, a real man, a strong man, a delivered man. Why? Grace. Ooh, God, I'm a shit here. Grace. So I'm talking to somebody. My time is up. I don't know how I got away from you all, but my time is up, and I need to tell you, God is not disgusted with you. It's people who are disgusted with you. But God said, I know, as he talked to a bunch of people while they were in captivity, he spoke through Jeremiah and said, even though you're in captivity and they told you that you're not going to be here long, you may be here longer than you think. But even while you're here, let me tell you something. I know the thoughts. I know how I think about you, even in your bondage, even in captivity. I know my thoughts towards you. They're good thoughts about you. They're peaceful thoughts about you. And he said, and I am going to bring you to your expected end. So failure is not an option. You can be bound by sin right now listening to me speak. You can be in the church living a hypocritical life. I know I did it for so long. I did it for so long. But then you hear the voice of God saying, I still love you. You hear the voice of God saying, come to me. But I'm too dirty to come, and I've been lying for too long before your people and before you. He said, baby, I knew you was going to do that before you did it. How can I come to you? Grace. This is the throne of grace. Come boldly. Walk past demons. Walk past people and things who said you would never make it. Dripping with sin, walk past them and come before the throne of grace. There is a fountain filled with blood drawn from Emmanuel's vein. Every sin